Tonight, egged on by adults, a black girl is attacked outside her school.
Get him back! Get him back! Get him back!
2 adults, a teenager and 2 children have been arrested after the racially aggravated assault, and there is anger at the school involved.
I'm glad that this school is being named and shamed because it's been about time. Some teachers, they would see what's going on, they'll be silent. It needs to change.
Also on the programme, pressure on the mayor over his plans to expand the ULEZ zone. More councils are rejecting Sadiq Khan's request to put up signs and cameras. Frustrated, he's telling them to give in.
The Conservative councils need to back down from their opposition to clean air.
He says you need to back down.
Well, we don't intend to.
Plus, the baristas breaking down barriers, how coffee workers are serving a bigger purpose. And the King of Brick Lane, crowds turn out for an historic visit. Good evening. There is little doubt why a video of a black girl getting viciously set upon in Ashford in Surrey has caused such anger, especially when you hear adults encouraging the attack. Today, protesters gathered outside the school where it happened and MPs joined the condemnation. We know 2 children, a teenager and 2 adults have been arrested. Now demanding answers, accusing her school of failing to help. A warning, Daniel Henry's report contains that distressing video.
All for one and one for all.
All for one and one for all.
If they touch one, then they touch all.
If you touch one, then you touch all.
So stand up.
Outside the place that children are supposed to feel safe and protected, fear and anger that they're anything but.
You don't care. You don't feel the pain. When I saw that little girl, all I saw was my sister.
Frustration has been building here all day after a video began circulating online that's so violent we can only show it to you in parts. Close to a school in Ashford, a schoolgirl was surrounded. She was kicked and punched, and her braids were pulled. The adult you can hear doesn't help. In fact, they appear to be shouting techniques on how to attack the girl. Today, people marched to her school to show their support and to say this video highlights a problem that the school needs to address.
These are children that you're teaching them to be racist. They're not racist. It's what the school is teaching them.
Them kids are in there, they don't feel secure. And that head teacher, they wrote a statement that day in the school. Why didn't you call us? And I don't care if something didn't happen. They call my auntie all the time for my little cousin, for the littlest things. She gets her phone taken. And I'm thinking now, are you calling the school because you know she's going to get punished? Are you calling in because you know she's going to get punished? Or are you calling because you care? Because this time you wrote a statement, why didn't you tell us? And on top of that, she had a crowd following her when she left the school. You're telling me you didn't see the crowd?
I cried and I was angry. And I still feel so much anger. But I just need change. Justice needs to be served. And it needs to happen. And you know what? I'm glad that this school is being named and shamed because it's been about time.
Surrey police say they're treating it as a racially motivated attack. 5 people have been arrested.
It is disturbing. It is disturbing. But to watch that, again, not just as a police officer, but also as a parent and as a human being, you know, I was a little disappointed with the reactions of some of the public in the area at the time.
The school have released a statement saying they're taking all the necessary steps to deal with this incident. And the local MP has tweeted to say it's vital that children are safe at school and in their local community. But this video has people asking when that will happen. Daniel Henry, ITV News.
Last week, we told you about the bitter row between 4 outer London boroughs and the mayor over plans to expand the clean air zone into their areas. Well, today, it appears pressure is further mounting on Sadiq Khan after it emerged another 4 local authorities have now also decided to join the pushback on new ULEZ signs. The mayor is telling them to back down, but they're refusing to do so. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Sadiq Khan is on a mission to clean up London's toxic air, but his plan to expand the ultra-low emission zone is being challenged by district and county councils, and it's turning into a fight.
The Conservative councils need to back down from their opposition to clean air.
He says you need to back down.
Well, we don't intend to.
The latest front line in this battle are the signs which warn drivers they're heading for the ULEZ. Transport for London wants to put them on the approach roads to Greater London, the boundary of the new zone. But 4 county councils outside London, Buckinghamshire, Essex, Kent and Surrey, are threatening to frustrate the plan.
We could simply say we are not going to allow you to place signs in Kent's territory.
All that will happen is their constituents, their residents, won't realise they're entering into London and will inadvertently have to pay a fine. Why would they want to do that?
The Mayor says you will be to blame if your residents end up paying fines.
Nonsense.
The councils want the Mayor to allow more people to claim grants from his scrappage scheme. Londoners on benefits, charities and small businesses can apply, but not if they're in the home counties.
The row between the Mayor and councils in outer London and the home counties has become increasingly bitter. While some are refusing to cooperate with the ULEZ expansion, others are considering legal action in the courts to try to stop it altogether.
Sadiq Khan says research by Imperial College London in 2019 revealed 4,000 premature deaths from toxic air. But in Bromley, council leaders claim the air is some of the cleanest in London and an elderly population distorts the figures.
As a result of other people living different parts of their lives in different parts of the capital, and some of them will have lived through the smogs of the 50s, 60s, all the bad air in pubs and clubs that we used to have, in other places in other times, have moved out to Bromley, and sadly this is where they end their days.
Ruth's 6-year-old son has asthma. They live in Hornsey within the existing ULEZ. Ruth has joined a clean air campaign.
Everybody deserves a good start in a clean and healthy environment, and it's just not fair to exclude some children from that.
In outer London, Bexley, Bromley, Harrow and Hillingdon are consulting lawyers. Other boroughs have joined calls for the ULEZ expansion to be postponed. Pressure on the Mayor is growing. Simon Harris, ITV News.
Epsom College will stay shut until after half-term as Surrey police carry out an investigation into the deaths of its head teacher, her husband and their daughter. Emma Patterson was found with George Patterson and 7-year-old Letty at their home in the school grounds on Sunday. Their deaths are being investigated as a possible murder-suicide. A serving Metropolitan Police officer was in court today charged with rape and assault. PC Jordan Brown, who was attached to the Central East Command Unit, has been suspended from duty. And London's firefighters could announce more strikes if there's been no progress in talks over pay today. Union leaders met employers to call for an improved offer to try to resolve the dispute. If talks fail, more strikes will be announced tomorrow. Next tonight, Archie Battersby died accidentally in a prank or experiment that went wrong, a coroner has concluded. The 12-year-old died after his life support was withdrawn following a legal fight between his parents and doctors. Well, Miranda Shunka is here with me now. Miranda, is it any clearer how Archie was injured at his home in Southend?
Well, since this very sad story unfolded back last April, and we've covered it extensively, the central question has always been what really happened to Archie. And I think today we had a few more answers to that. The inquest in Chelmsford, just almost 6 months on now since the incident, since his life support was turned off, it concluded that, as you say, it was an accident and the 12-year-old hadn't intended to harm himself. Now, Essex's senior coroner, Lincoln Brooks, described him as a complex child and said that he was satisfied, though, that Archie had put his head in a noose of some kind or put a cord around his neck. Why? Well, we don't necessarily know why, but the coroner did say without necessarily a good reason. As the coroner said, 12-year-old boys don't always have good reasons. I think it may be just a case of curiosity, he said. What does it feel like? So quite simply, it may well have been an experiment that went wrong. Now, he said it was possible that Archie had been taking part in an online challenge, but he'd not seen any evidence of this. And this was something that his family had spoken about back last summer when they were in the media quite extensively while Archie lay in that hospital bed. Now, his mum spoke outside court today. This is what she had to say.
The whole idea in raising the awareness from day one, even that I weren't 100% sure what Archie had done, the whole reason for that was to raise awareness for other parents so that to prevent, obviously, the same thing happening again. And I do think that we've done that. And despite the fact I've been trolled so heavily, it kind of makes it worth it, because I do feel that we have saved children's lives.
Now, his family told the court that there were no signs of any low mood in the days leading up to the incident, and the coroner accepted that. His older brother even talked about him being a bit of a joker. He liked to shock those around him. In fact, on the day of the incident, he was in very good spirits. So while we know how he died, we may never know why he did this, what motivated him, and what led to those catastrophic injuries, and obviously the tragedy that unfolded for his family.
Yeah, Miranda, thank you. The family of a 32-year-old man who vanished in Walthamstow at the end of last month have told us of their agonising wait for answers. Nathan Cole, who's from Notting Hill, had been planning to visit Coco in Camden, but headed to North East London instead. Today, police retraced his journey to see if it would jog memories. Toby Sadler reports.
Wearing Nathan's glasses and some of his clothes, his brother Luke retraces his last known steps. This CCTV on Banbury Road in Walthamstow is the last time Nathan was seen alive. That was at 11:15 on the night of Saturday the 21st of January, now 2.5 weeks ago. The route Luke is taking for the cameras today is the police's best guess of where Nathan went next, based on data transmitted from his phone. The 32-year-old's family are supporting each other, but every day without news is horrendous.
It's utterly, it's quite tormenting actually, just the uncertainty of like where Nathan is. For us, he's completely vanished. Even the police and ourselves were perplexed as to Nathan's location. Even his GPS just shows that he's just disappeared. So it's completely heartbreaking, not knowing whether he's alive and whether he's going to walk through the door, or we're going to get that phone call that the police have found something. So it's just been in that limbo. It's very painful for the family and heartbreaking.
Police think Nathan went through the Tottenham marshes, across the River Lee, and then headed north along the canal. It's here where police divers are searching the water. They fear Nathan might have gone in, but really they're looking for anything that will help this investigation.
We haven't got a clue where Nathan is. You know, we haven't been able, in this particular investigation, since we've had that last CCTV sighting, whilst we've been tracking the phone, we've had no breakthroughs whatsoever. So we've had no indication of Nathan's specific whereabouts, nor the whereabouts of the possessions he had with him, nor of the phone, should it have been, become detached from Nathan. We've not found the phone either.
Shortly after the canal, the trail goes cold. Nathan's phone data suggests he got somewhere near Leaside Road, but no further. He doesn't appear on CCTV cameras further up the street.
It's completely out of character for Nathan, although he'd often go out for an evening, especially at the weekend. He's never been out of touch for more than 24 hours without it snowing, so that's why it's so disconcerting and so upsetting.
This is a huge area to search, and of course it all looked different at night. But Nathan's family hope this appeal will jog someone's memory. And with so much time past, they're increasingly desperate for information. Toby Sadler, ITV News.
Still to come, will this freezing weather continue? Sally will be here. Plus, look into his eyes and get help when feeling anxious. Paul McKenna joins us live. Before that, let's head to Brick Lane, where thousands of people welcomed the King and Queen Consort for their historic visit to the area. They were there to meet members of the Bangladeshi community, as well as those who were involved in the anti-racism movement of the 1970s. Helen Keenan went along.
Met with cheers in Brick Lane, the heart of the British Bangladeshi community. His first visit to Tower Hamlets since becoming king.
I just said, welcome to Brick Lane. We're very excited to see you. I gave the flowers.
And did you do a little curtsy? With primary school children also among the locals welcoming their majesties.
Some people, they went really crazy saying, King Charles, King Charles, King Charles. Me, I will say the best thing I've ever seen.
Is it the best thing you've ever seen?
Yes, it's the best thing I've ever seen. I have lots of things that I love in my life, but I think this was the best thing.
The King and Queen consort pausing at the Bangla Town Arch and the new street mural, commissioned as part of the 50th anniversary celebrations, marking the moment Bangladesh separated from Pakistan.
What Brick Lane is a melting pot of culture and community, is a gateway for every migrant community's sort of success story. And in fact, Hope Town is the name of this street. It's the hope and aspiration of any community that comes to the shore.
Of course, he's the king, but he's extraordinarily warm. They both are extraordinarily warm people. They're fun to be with, ask questions, they're engaged, they wanted to know, they listened to our stories, they went to meet the crowds. If people called to him, he went over and said hello, and I just think it shows such a generosity of spirit.
There were a series of racist attacks on Bangladeshis in the 70s, particularly in the East End. Altab Ali was murdered. His death sparked rallies and change. The park, named in his honour, visited today by the royals.
They agreed that it's important that whichever community we come from, we contribute to the British community, but at the same time, we maintain our heritage. And very interested to see the sari. He definitely praised the sari, saying it's a lovely sari. Yeah.
A final wave of goodbye from King Charles as he left his historic trip to Brick Lane. Helen Keenan, ITV News.
OK, the ITV News continues at 6:30. Here's Romilly.
The earthquake death toll climbs above 11,000 as rescue efforts continue in Turkey and Syria. Anger builds towards the Turkish president over the country's slow response as thousands remain trapped beneath the rubble. Here, the Ukrainian president thanks Britain for its support in a surprise visit to the UK. And is Basel making a comeback? Faulty Towers could burst back on our screens after more than 40 years. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Our next guest tonight's introduced hypnotherapy to millions around the world, and now Paul McKenna is using his skills to help people with anxiety. Before we speak about that, a quick blast from the past.
Nice to see you again, Adam. To see you sleep and relax.
I remember shutting my eyes and it was like a negative on a photograph. It was green and yellow. It just went like that, a flash, and that was me. I was out.
At first you tried to fight it slightly.
Welcome, Paul. That was classic telly, wasn't it? I remember watching that with my brother and sister.
Yes, a long time ago, 30 years ago, in fact. And I had some hair as well.
And huge audiences. Look, now you're using your hypnotherapy, as you've always done, for good. Your book is called Freedom from Anxiety. Tell us about it and how it works.
Well, we're in, we've been in a biological pandemic. We're in a psychological one right now. And there's been a whole load of breakthroughs with modern psychological techniques, which work really quickly and really efficiently to help people stop worrying, get calm, feel resilient and in control of their feelings. And so not only is it a book with 18 different techniques, but you can download for free the techniques onto your phone, and you can have me there 24 hours a day whenever you need a burst of confidence or to get calm. So that's really how it works.
Could you give me one quick tip that we can use in everyday life?
Do you know, there's a very simple thing. This takes less than a minute. If you're feeling stressed or anxious, this is used by all 4 divisions of the American military. You put your hand on your heart like that, which brings your attention to your heart, and you take 3 very slow, deep breaths, because when you do that, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So you breathe in, you hold it, and you gently let it go.
Slow everything down.
That's right. Then you do it again, you gently let it go, and then on the third one, you remember a time you felt good, and you return to that time like you're back there again, and you see what you saw, and hear what you heard and feel how good you felt. So I did that rather fast, but when you do that, you take the time to do it, it takes you from being very anxious to being much more calm and in control.
That's so useful. Have you found that things have changed compared to when you had your show 30 years ago? That we're all so much more conscious now, aren't we, of looking after our mental health and being aware of how we're thinking?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, when I was doing these shows 30 years ago, it was voodoo. You know, everybody thought it was very strange, it was quite controversial. But nowadays, people are aware of mindfulness and meditation. And hypnotherapy is now widely used in medicine and psychology. So lots of people are able to benefit benefit from this extraordinary practice, which was once considered kind of hokey, but now, you know, is very much an everyday practice.
And there is so much science behind it, isn't there?
Yeah, there's thousands and thousands of research studies that show mainly two things. Firstly, it's safe, and secondly, it works. It works incredibly well for behavioural changes like quitting smoking, losing weight, becoming confident and overcoming anxiety.
Speaking of confidence, you're going on tour, aren't you? You're at Conway Hall.
I will be, yes. What I do is I do a 90-minute coaching event, a live event. Unfortunately, they're sold out, but I'll be doing some more, I'm sure. And what I do is I ask for people from the audience, say, for example, at the beginning, I'll say, who's frightened of public speaking? And lots of hands go up. Somebody very nervous will come on the stage. A few minutes later, they're completely cured of it, and they can talk to the audience like a professional performer. And then I turn to the entire audience and say, look, you saw what I did there? Let's all try that ourselves to make ourselves feel more confident. And then I hypnotise everybody in the audience to feel great.
You can do that after the programme. Paul, thank you very much. Wonderful to have you.
Thank you, Duncan.
Take care. Now, how an everyday interaction, ordering coffee, could help break down barriers between hearing and deaf people. They're being trained as baristas to work in central London. I Love Coffee was started in South Africa 7 years ago and has since gone on to help more than 100 Londoners. Anna Geary has been to meet the latest.
As you approach the counter at this central London coffee shop, you are taught how to order in sign language. Here, I'm asking Priscilla for a latte. It's her first day. The 21-year-old from Croydon is deaf. She has had employment as a barista before, but felt organisations did not cater to her needs. However, a social enterprise launching in the capital this week is recruiting and training members of the deaf community in its mission to make life more accessible.
Yeah, I feel, nervous, but really confident.
I asked Priscilla how hard it's been before.
Yes, it was very hard to find a job for me. The communication barriers, lack of having interpreters there has been really hard. Trying to lip read and working in a noisy environment has been really hard. So it wasn't conducive for me to lip read.
The company behind this new scheme is called I Love Coffee. It is established in South Africa and is partnered up with flexible workspace provider WeWork. Priscilla is one of 4 deaf baristas to be stationed across 2 sites in London. But speaking to me from Cape Town, the founder says there are already grand plans for expansion.
We want to be the biggest coffee brand that employs deaf people in the world. You know, the UK is just a stepping stone into Europe and possibly America, but there are talks about other parts of the world, and we really want to see how far this can go.
But Gary's biggest ambition is that one day his business won't serve a purpose, when people like Priscilla live with the same opportunities as those with hearing. Anna Geary, ITV News.
Sally's here now. Sally, I know it was freezing this morning, but it was stunning as well.
Sorry, can we just talk about Paul McKenna first?
All right, go back to that then.
Oh my goodness.
You remember it as well?
I loved him.
TV
We
show.
would all sit there going, this is incredible.
Yes.
And then I remember going to a party soon afterwards and there was a hypnotherapist there because it was all the rage and just being so desperate to be hypnotised and nothing.
I'm glad
Just wide
someone
awake.
else remembers, because certain younger members of the team have been making me feel bad for remembering that show. Her name shall not be mentioned.
No, we can both be old together, Duncan. It's absolutely fine. Anyway, yes, it is a little bit cold at the moment, but by Friday, a bit milder. Let's take a look. Here's all the details.
ITV London weekday weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles. Car, charger, and energy.
Hi again. I hope you had a good Wednesday. We did have some fog this morning, but also some sunshine giving for some beautiful scenes like that. What a majestic tree. So a bit of a cold evening to come. And then by tomorrow morning, it's going to be a bit cloudier, but hopefully an improving day. Cloudier again as we head into Friday and Saturday, but just getting a bit milder, you might be relieved to hear. So we have got this high pressure over us, keeping things settled, but it is quite a cloudy setup. But this high pressure, as it moves, is going to help us draw in in this south-southwesterly flow, and that's why things aren't quite as chilly, or going to not be quite as chilly as they have been. Back to you tonight, though, it is going to be cold because we've got clear skies. Initially, we'll see this frost forming and maybe some pockets of freezing fog again. But as dawn approaches, you can see this cloud moving in from the north and the west, and so that will clear some of that frost. Still a chilly night, though, temperatures close to around freezing. Now, when you wake up tomorrow morning, as this cloud moves across us, where it's thick enough, there might just be a few spits and spots of drizzle, but many areas staying dry, and the day should improve. You can see that cloud clearing to allow more in the way of blue sky and sunshine. Our temperatures are pretty similar to today, highs of 7 to 9 degrees, so in that sunshine, just starting to not feel too bad. Now, for the evening, staying dry, and we have got some clear spells again, so a bit of a patchy frost forming on Thursday night into Friday morning. Friday and Saturday, quite a bit more cloud, but there will be hopefully some brighter spells. And you can see the temperatures coming up to above average as we move into Friday, and then coming back down to average as we go through the weekend, both by day and by night. That's it for now. I'll see you later on. Cheerio.
ITV London Weekday Weather is sponsored by Octopus Electric Vehicles.
And that is how London is looking. We're back with our late update after news at 10. Next, it's Romilly with the ITV Evening News. Bye for now.